Entrepreneur's mind, athlete's body, artist's soul. This is a quote I keep seeing floating around. I've only just realised who it's from, and it's from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, which is a book I've not read. I know there's a lot of hype around it, but I'm not really into the hyped self-help books. I'd much rather pick up a book from the charity shop or, stumble into a book. Anyway, the quote itself, though, I find amazing. It's, 6 words, simple, and a bit of a rule to live by once again. I wanted to create something with it and from it. So I was using it as a tool to really think of who I would pick for each element of that quote. So the quote itself is an aspiration of mine. It's the life I want to live, in 6 words. Pretty mad, pretty powerful stuff. And mapping it out made me think differently. So I'd really recommend doing it. I was thinking, who are these 3 people I'd pin each bit to? Who do I strive to be like, or at least embody some of their attributes and what they do, and their daily discipline to get to where they got to. Without further ado, my first one for an entrepreneur's mind, one that brings everything together cohesively and that I really admire, is Samuel Ross. He always seems to be at the forefront, progressive, he works restrained, he's built successful businesses around his design thinking and his doing, his designs in general. It combines what I'm doing and where I want to be between design and entrepreneurialism. So I like that he's not defined by one medium. He's an industrial designer, a garment designer. So it's much of what I strive for. It's a clean, distinct visual style, minimalist ethos that underpins it all, and then his deep sense of functionality with it all as well. That's my entrepreneur's mind. Secondly, the athlete's body. This guy's been an idol of mine since I was a kid, Bruce Lee. So yeah, with him, it's not only the aesthetic of his body, etc., that I strive for, but also his discipline and the functionality with his body. I've always worked out, always stayed fit and healthy, touch wood, running, football, gym, climbing, skateboarding, etc. And so I've always wanted my fitness to be functional, and with that I mean I'd hate to be too big, my shoulders too big or arms too big to fit in certain clothes, to not be able to skate, jump on a skateboard and be too rigid and not flexible enough. So yeah, my dream body is much more like Bruce Lee, but I know some others just want to get as big as possible, and that's fine, you do you. But I want to be Bruce Lee shredded, flexible, strong, up in the pace on my runs, getting PBs on my runs, and that's the goal. Enter the dragon. Lastly, for the artist's soul, I went with Picasso. This was another hard choice, but last year when I was in Spain, I got this old book that's written from a woman that was with him for 10 years, had 2 of his children, and it's the closest insight into his life that you can get. So I'd really recommend it, Life with Picasso by Francois Gillot, a creative genius, and just, lived and used creativity. Interesting to kind of see different sides to him. And yeah, a lot of inspirational stuff as well. Like, one standout quote from the book for me is Francois asked him how a painter could work like nature, He said, aside from rhythm, one of the things that strikes us most strongly in nature is the difference of textures, the texture of space, the texture of an object in that space. And then he goes on and he says, we didn't any longer want to fool the eye, we wanted to fool the mind, which is huge. You know, big shift in the art world. Another thing I'd like to point out from Picasso is probably my favourite piece of work that he did, called The Bull. It teaches an invaluable lesson in abstraction, taking something complex and stripping it to its essential form. Most people think art is about seeing more detail. He saw it, and a lot of people see it as the opposite. It's seeing less, the few important lines that carry the majority of the meaning and cutting the rest out. You know, this abstraction that he does in The Bull is a form of like minimalism, essentialism, and kind of the core of design and art in general, and kind of what you're trying to get across in this thing that you're creating. But yeah, that's the lesson, and it's the one I keep coming back to in everything I make. Entrepreneur's mind, athlete's body, artist's soul. Ross, Lee, Picasso. That's who I'm building towards. And I'd recommend that you do the same. You do the same task, and it really helps visualize the quote, visualize your goals, and channel your energy into those idols and people. Enjoy.